New York City is having a mayoral race. The primary had just gone through, and the contenders for the Democratic side were Andrew Cuomo and Zoran Mandani. Andrew Cuomo, I don't know why they thought that would be an option, like he had a chance. He's probably like one of the most hated people in New York right now.
He did kill a lot of people in respirators.
And for some reason, they thought that they're going to make him run for mayor of New York City. Like, was that even... It's almost like the equivalent of them running Kamala.
Yeah.
Like, they ran him knowing that he had no chance. I don't know. And then you have this Zoran Mandani guy who is like a Muslim Indian socialist.
Muslim Indian socialist. Yes. Self-proclaimed.
That just became a United States citizen like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yep.
And he is trending hard.
Oh, he's all over the place.
He's like figured out what works in other cities around the world. What he's done. He reminds me of what Vivek Ramaswamy did when he started trending.
Yeah.
He took all the data from the internet, figured out what works, what resonates with people, what the issues that people care about, and just went super hard on those few things.
It's almost like a playbook from Trump. And Trump, in a lot of ways, ran on this idea and theme of America first, which was obvious, right? MAGA, America first. But at the same time, he was speaking to the issues that regular Americans feel on the ground. So Zoran, this guy, what he's essentially doing is the same playbook. He's saying, what do my constituents care about? What are they complaining about? Where's the frustrations? Where's the conflicts? I'm going to speak directly to that. And he decided to be very pro-New York first, pro-New York, people first. And in a lot of ways, he ran on that idea and he got the ticket.
I mean, the first time I saw him was when they were doing the New York City mayor debate.
Yeah.
And they said, New York City mayors typically go international and say hi to a different country or visit another country. What country would you go to first? And there's like 6 people on there, 7 people on there.
Yeah.
Every single one goes, oh yeah, the first place I gotta go to Israel. And we're like, wait, what? That's Peter humping the wall, by the way. Every single New York City mayor said the first thing that they're gonna do once they get elected is that they're gonna go to Israel.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, this guy I'd never heard of, he's only like 33 years old or something.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm staying in New York City. And they're like, well, don't you need to go to Israel? And he's like, I can talk to like the synagogues here. There's a lot of Jewish people in New York. That's actually like almost just as many in New York as there are in Israel. I'm just gonna talk to the ones here.
Yeah, and the guys that I like here, they smear on my bagels really well.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to the people and the bagel store owners and the synagogues and the schools. I'm gonna talk to people in New York.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, but you need to go. He's like, no.
And that is when Zorhan received a new lover in Matt. Matt was like, I like this guy.
It was different.
It was.
And
he was going against the grain.
I don't know if that was intentional. Maybe he knew that if he said that at that moment, that he would go viral. I don't know how calculative a person he is, but seeing what he's doing online, it almost makes me feel like he knew that would be the better answer in that situation for clicks and views and attention. Because as we know, as we discussed with Diddy, there's no such thing as bad attention anymore.
No, not at all. And I love the fact that you used a Vivek Ramaswamy example, because Vivek seemed like he was produced. Does that make sense? He feels like Vivek came out with saying the right things at the right time. It was almost too perfect. And we'll give credit where credit is due. Vivek is a great communicator.
Yes.
He's a great communicator, fair enough. But Vivek was always able to point on the things that were like, yeah, I like that. I got you. Like, Vivek, good on you, mate. I like that idea. And so he was really programmed in a lot of ways. And I feel like this guy Zoran is very much programmed as well. It's almost too perfect, the things he's saying, for the audience that he's trying to get support from.
Yeah, what topics are trending?
Exactly.
What topics build up support?
Exactly.
What topics and issues can you build a community around? And those are the ones that are going to make my issues.
But at the same time, while he's saying all this flowery language, he is not shying away at all to his desire for clear socialism, which is, I feel like that word has maybe been so diluted that people just don't even hear it anymore. Like, has socialism ever worked, Matt?
I mean, kind of.
Unpack that for me.
Okay. Well, so people say that China is a communist country, but it's not. If you actually ask Chinese, what they say is we are a socialist country hoping to achieve communism. China is socialist. They actually work out pretty well.
Fair enough.
And they're like one of the, if the United States is S tier, then they're still tier A, right?
In some ways, I'd say actually they're kind of S tier too in their own ways.
You know, Vietnam is trending up in the right direction, and they're doing good, and they're doing the same experiment, actually. And they went from a really poor, really war-ridden country to doing pretty all right. So, and they're growing at a rate that's better than maybe a lot of the capitalist small countries. So, I'm not a socialist at all, but to say that it has zero success I don't think that's fair. I just don't agree with it.
Well, I think, yeah, and I don't want to choose a hard edge here. I think there's gradations of it.
Yeah.
Right? There's flavors of it. And I think every let's just say political system, whether it's socialist, communist, democratic republic, we could go on and on and on, right? There's different shades of gray and the different shades of color throughout all of that. So there's no perfect political system, but some are working better than others. And so what you're saying is...
And when you think about Germany, they weren't, if you remove the killing of people, they were the National Socialist Party. They were...
Yeah, but
as far as a country, they were doing all right.
But the national socialist aspect, the national social, I think that was the winner. It wasn't necessarily the socialism aspect. It was the fact that it was a national socialist, which essentially means three things: their country first, their issues first, their people first. That's essentially what national socialism is, right?
And this guy Zoran.
I'm just saying Zoran, and I'm going with
Zoran. Okay, me too. Fine, Zoran. If what we know is that when politicians win, they campaign on we're going to do all these things, but once you win, like, you're just a politician,
bro. Say less.
You just say what you feel like will get you elected, and once you're elected, you're just another politician. So he's like, oh, this guy's a socialist, and he's going to turn New York City socialist. No, like, it doesn't matter who's mayor. They make small changes and they affect maybe the direction of the city. But no mayor has ever gone in and completely changed. Actually, the only one that I thought was really effective in New York City was Giuliani.
He did clean up the streets.
He went in and said, no, like, we're going to clean up 42nd Street, we're going to clean up Times Square, and we're just going to arrest anyone that that looks shady at all. And people are like, no, you can't do that. But the shit worked.
It did clean it up.
So unless Zoran goes Giuliani level, I don't think he makes impact.
You don't think so?
I mean, this podcast episode was brought to you by VP.net, the only VPN that can't spy on you.
Let's go back to Zoran. So Zoran, do you think he's going to be effective as a new New York socialist?
Well, I think it'd be interesting to see what happens with Eric Adams. I saw that Eric Adams was going to run as an independent.
Oh.
And Eric Adams was the former mayor.
Yeah.
I actually kind of liked Eric Adams.
Why?
Because at the time where, it was where all the Democratic mayors were very much on this, let's bring in all the illegal immigrants and let's make it all. And he said, no, dude, New York, we're full.
Yeah.
We can't, this enough. And as soon as he went against the establishment, they came after him. They said, oh, look, he's getting like free first-class flights to Greece or whatever.
Of course. They always bring out the
And it's like, well, they all get first-class flights. This is not new.
Yeah.
If you're the country of Greece and the mayor of New York City is arriving, you're not going to make him stay at like the Holiday Inn. You're going to put him in the Four Seasons. That's
course.
like normal.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I agree with that, but they all do it.
Yeah. They all do it.
But they singled them out for that. They like arrested him on a plane. They made a big deal about it. And the fact that they put so much pressure on him and so much political public pressure on him to be like, oh, look, Eric Adams is bad. I'm like, huh, maybe I like him. You know what I mean?
The more that the public and the politicians and the little hats hate this an individual, the more Matt likes him. It's
Yes.
an inverse correlation.
That's exactly how it works.
I like it.
But then he got so much pressure, he kind of caved a little bit.
Yeah.
And he
That's what I was gonna say.
retracted, and he's like, "No, okay, maybe we shouldn't do that." And he went to the, and they didn't even invite him to the DNC.
Well, yeah, because the donors were like, "Hey, man, your money funnel is going to start drying up if you start saying the wrong stuff."
And then he went on Tucker, and Tucker interviewed him, and that was an opportunity for him to like go hard.
Yeah.
And he kind of just stayed really political.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, man, like I kind of wish he went hard because I would have liked them.
Well, have a spine. I watched that.
Yeah.
He had zero spine. He kept going back to the same political points. And it's like, if you stay at the political point level, then we never get to understand two things. We never get to understand your motives, and we never get to understand your personality. Like, that's the problem. It's like so many of these politicians, we don't actually know who they are. All we know is clips and talking points of what the perception needs to be, right? So we have this perception right now of Zoran as this socialist who's going to create, Walmarts and food stores for everyone that's going to be run by the government. When has anything been run by the government? Has it been great? Like, when has that ever happened? And so he has all these very outlandish campaign promises to the New Yorkers, but the New Yorkers seem to be really liking him. So what's that all about?
I mean, I wish that
Who's his target market?
I think it's just the city in general. Younger people that are not as wealthy, people that are struggling in New York City, that are feeling disenfranchised. I mean, we've seen this model work, especially in London. Cities all over the world where when things get weird, things get tough, when the economy is promised to be better but doesn't fulfill, and you're feeling kind of the social pressure and the social breakdown around society around you, then this kind of socialist, more for the people, more social program type of rhetoric, it works.
Sounds like Batman. Where the line in Batman is they turned to a man they didn't fully understand.
And, we know Democrats. Like, if he wins, if Zoran wins, he's going to screw everyone over, and he's going to sell out, and he's going to fall in line with the establishment, and they're not going to get what they asked for, and they're not going to get what they voted for, and they're just shooting themselves in the foot. But it's New York City. It's going to happen anyway. It actually doesn't matter who wins. They're still going to get.
Did you hear he comes from a rich family too?
Really?
Yeah. Did you know that his mom is a famous Bollywood actress?
Really?
Yeah. He's part of the puppies. He's part of the players in the game. Like, he comes from a rich family. His mom is like multimillionaire Bollywood actress over in India. Like, he comes from high stock.
Damn, can you imagine how many Indian clippers he has clipping his content and putting it all over the internet to make him famous?
SARS.
And he's buying it at like pennies on the dollar.
Well, AI is actually Indians.
Yeah.
So
we did see that.
Yeah, AI is actually Indian. So he has an Indian horde who, if we
You said horde, not whore.
Horde. An Indian horde that if we speak badly, we might get a lot of SARS that are going to be pooflinging at us about this.
During the H-1B debate, we got a lot of
man.
poof. That's where the whole pooflinger came from.
We were inundated with poo.
They came so hard at us because we were so anti, opening up the country to all these foreign workers when people in America are having a hard time getting jobs, and we were just trying to be supportive of the American economy like we thought we were supposed to do because we voted for America first.
Oh.
And somehow
Be so egregious.
we got all these pooflings like, well, you can't talk about the Indians.
I had, which is so funny because like whenever I use the poop emoji, like I think that's cute AF.
Yeah.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
So when I got all these poop emojis in my DMs from SARS, I was like, that's kind of cute, bro. Like, you're terrible. Why are you talking about Indian people are the best? You're the terrible Asian, and the poop emoji. It's like, cute? So he's going to win. New York is going to continue its downward spiral. He's speaking to the disenfranchised of New York, the ones that can't find jobs, the one need help, and so they're turning to a man they don't fully understand. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And who is playing the game of the internet like perfectly.
I mean, he speaks well too.
He speaks well.
Even when he says socialism, he speaks well.
Even when he walks around, he's doing videos like walking through the city, doing that.
He's
eating with his
rice
hands to make him like relatable and ethnic, and you know, in New York, it's such an ethnic city.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, look at him being real, and it like works because the rest of America's like, oh, look how filthy it is. Why are you eating with your hand? Like, use a fucking fork. But to the demographic in which he's trying to reach, it's working.
Someone can correct me on this, but I feel like I saw something where 60 to 70% of New York is not American. They're like different ethnicities, different nationalities. So he's gonna have a multicultural melting pot up there to deal with.
And the uber rich in New York, they always say, if this happens, we're leaving New York.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. They're gonna stay.
They don't leave. They just stay. It becomes a talking point. Oh, look, we're gonna lose all the tax dollars because the rich are gonna leave New York, and who's gonna pay for all these services? And at the end of the day, they actually don't leave.
So you think nothing's gonna change?
They're gonna call this bluff.
He's gonna win. Nothing's gonna change.
Oh, look, Eric Adams trends. It's not impossible.
Yeah, but let's just play to the end of the story. Fox News will and all the conservatives will be like, up in arms, we have a socialist now that's running New York, but nothing's gonna change.
Yeah, I mean, the right and the conservatives are like, oh, that guy is a socialist, but they're only talking to people that are right, and New York is like a Democrat city. They actually don't care what Fox News is saying.
Yeah, they love it.
You know, like, look at all these conservative podcasters talking about how much they hate Mamdani, and it's like, wait. But the people in New York aren't listening to them, so actually it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and so I had this, when we talked about this at lunch a little bit, I had this feeling like New York is just going to eat itself. But you would say that New York's just going to get on the way it's been getting on.
New York
it's not going to get any worse. You don't think so with a socialist mayor?
I mean, it got really bad when the illegal immigrants were everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's not as bad anymore. They always kind of figure it out. You know, it's such a big city, and the people who live in New York just absolutely love New York. I don't know why, because I've lived in New York. It's not that awesome living, but there's like this weird sense of pride that comes with being a New Yorker. And I think anyone that's ever lived in New York understands that. If you live in New York City, you're like, I'm a New York City person. I live in New York. I'm a New Yorker. I'm kind of better than you.
Ooh.
And
do you really still think New York has that shine?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, if you meet someone from New York, that's just how they act. That's just in their, I don't want to say DNA because it's not like genetic, but it's what they believe. And they carry themselves as such. And if you do any sort of big business, or if you're anywhere in the world and you go to New York, like, oh, New York. It's still New York City. And I don't think that goes away. It's still the center of the world, you know?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it's probably going to get a lot more socialist and Democrat, but I don't know. Like, I don't live there. What do I care if they pay more taxes, and in that small island, if they pay more taxes and poor people get more money? Like, what do I care about that, actually?
Well, you don't, but if I can add a little bit of color to this conversation, two really important things come out of New York. Number one, policies. And number two,
pizza. I love pizza.
Will said pizza. But policies and
halal guys.
Well,
apparently you can eat with your hands.
Well, I was going to mine's a little bit higher level. Policies and pop culture.
Yeah.
That is what's exported from New York. Is that the policies of New York does have somewhat of a trickle effect to the rest of America. Because we love in America to create national policies, regulations, and laws and legislation based off the fringe of the world, right? All the whole trans stuff, when that was getting deep and heavy. It's like, and that was a big thing in New York, right? And so they lead that, and that pop culture that they export from New York is not, let's just say, the most wholesome of culture. And so I feel like regardless of, the inner workings and the inner effects of what happens in New York City with this mayoral, process and this new mayor that might be a socialist, fine. At the end of the day, they're still going to export not good stuff from New York. And so I feel like that, if anything, is going to get worse, is they're going to export more bad policies out of New York because they have such a big megaphone, right? It's New York City, right? And since they have such a big megaphone, that politics and the pop culture, I think it's just going to get even worse over time, don't you think?
Well, okay, I got a question for you. Do you think the degenerate culture of New York or the degenerate culture of LA is worse?
Oh,
who is the leader
In degeneracy?
In degeneracy of this country. Is it LA or is it New York?
Well, they both LA. So my wife is from LA, so I have more experience in LA than I'd like, and I spent a lot of time up in New York. I lived up in New York for a while. I visited New York City a lot, and I've worked on Wall Street there. Well, the demographics of LA and New York are somewhat the same. They have the same, let's just say, short species of group of people who control the narrative, control the entertainment, control the pop culture, control policy, and control, unfortunately, finances. So if I were to say which is worse, New York or LA, I think I'd have to say New York for sure, because they control more of the financial policies in the financial banking world, right, than LA. And LA has a win on its side, and the win is they have better weather. New York is just gloomy as hell all the time.
I think that there has been a shift in society where attention is the new currency of the world, not dollars. And if attention is the currency of the world, then I would say that LA has more social impact on the country. I think
because
LA
of the entertainment?
Yeah, because all the influencers come from there, all the media comes from there, all the Hollywood is there. Everything trends out of LA now. If you want to do stuff online, like you go to LA. And that's where the attention is. And if attention is new currency of the world, then I think LA has more power now in that realm. I think that the money follows the attention. The attention is no longer following the money.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. I would disagree with you, mostly because on two things. Number one, the weather in LA is just better. It's just it's harder to be salty all the time when you have nice weather. New York, it's the financial institutions and the financial policies and the financial regulation, all that crap. That is what makes New York far worse, because the New York policies and the New York banking and the New York financiers, they affect global macroeconomics, political stuff. And so I think New York still probably is the deepest seed of degeneracy and terrible humans. Whereas
not all New Yorkers.
not all, but
just some.
LA is probably a very close second. Very close second. I think LA has more tunnels, probably. Wait, no. We did see a lot of tunnels in New York.
New York's definitely got a lot of tunnels.
People crawling out of There was an interesting species group crawling out of tunnels in New York a little while back, but we're not allowed to talk about that. There were mattresses involved as well. Unfortunate.
And like dolls and shit.
Terrible people. Terrible humans.
Terrible.
As we like to say in the South, terrible. Shit fire.
Thanks for watching the clip. If you want to see the full episode, click here. If you want to see more clips, click here.